Hey there creators, Niamh here, and this week I'm going to be making some shirts for my daughter Rhiannon, and she likes unicorns, so we're going to be doing a unicorn shirt here. And what I wanted to show was how my process in how I'm doing these. This program is called Embird, and the first thing I'm doing here is that I'm making sure that the hoop size is the size of the hoop that I have. And so they only have two colors in this design here, but I kind of want to have more colors. And normally you wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to change add multiple colors to a design if it doesn't allow that. But if you see over on the lower right hand corner here, all these colors here, these are where there's stitch jumps. And anytime there's a stitch jump, you can actually manually separate that from the other parts of the design. So I found the part where, all the letters for unicorn jump stitched to the unicorns there. And I split that into two separate designs. So now the unicorns, the crown, and the word queen are all in one design and unicorn is in the other. Now I also want to put the crown in a separate file or image as well. So I'm finding where that separates and separating it. And then from here, I can go ahead and change the colors. So there we go. And I made the crown a gold color. You don't have to put the exact colors that you're going to use in this program, because once it goes to the machine, you can just use, you're basically using whatever thread you have. So, these are the colors that I am using for this though. So that design is done. So I'm going to save it, and I'm saving it as a Hus file because that is my machine. It's a Husqvarna. I can use a few other file types and they'll work on my machine, but I'm going to go for a Hus file. And I just use the same file name, but with a dash and 01 afterward. And here's what it'll essentially look like on the shirt, of course, without the grid behind it. All right, so the next design that I want to do, because this shirt will have multiple designs on it, I want to put a border of unicorns down at the bottom of the shirt. So now I'm searching through my files and I couldn't find where this border was. So I went to the website where I got the design from. This is Urban Threads. I've mentioned them on my I've mentioned them before, and I did find the design here. This is the design I want, and I believe it was that size right there. So I'm just, it has a file name up there, so I searched my files for that file name, and I did end up finding it sometimes it takes a while for these images to load. So then the next page, and there it is right there. Yep. So now I can edit that file. And we're opening it up, and the first thing, like I did with the previous one, was change the file or the hoop size. And well, I think first I changed the color of that unicorn. I think I'm going to be doing that first, and then I'll change the size of the hoop so that it's the correct size. All right, so there was some separation here where I want to separate these. So I put that in a different file or different image, and I'm changing it that way. It's mostly so that I don't connect the two designs. I think that's what I was doing here. All right, so now that that's done, I'm going to merge them into one file so that they go that way, and then I'm going to change the hoop size. All right, so I want to rotate this because I want it turned the other way. So that's exactly how I want it, and I make sure it's centered. And on that, I can go ahead and save it. So not much done with this one, just changing the colors and rotating the image, really. So that one's good. But now I've decided that I want to put something on the back of the shirt too. And I like these little, cartoon unicorn things. So I want to use the same design, but on the back of the shirt. In this one, I'm actually going to be separating each and every design here. I'm separating each unicorn from the other ones, and I eventually separate each of these stars as well. And what I'm going to be doing is making a border, it's not a border, it's more like a stripe, a vertical line of these unicorns going down the back of the shirt. All right, so I have them all separated here, and now I'm going to highlight all of them. So I select all of them and I'm rotating them. And now I'm going to move the gold one up to the top, and I decided that I also want another gold one, and probably this exact style. So now I'm going to duplicate that image. So now I have two of them, and I'm putting one at the top and one at the bottom, and I like that the way that looks. So now I'm just going to organize these how I want, what makes sense, try out a few things. I was going to put the two pink ones on the edges, but I didn't like that the two blue ones are going to be next to each other. So then I decided to switch that up a little bit and maybe put that pink one there and that blue one underneath that gold one. And I do make sure that icon that I'm pressing over on the left hand side is centering it in the middle of the hoop. And now I'm going to start working on those stars, and it doesn't work by itself. I'm going to have to separate each of those stars from the other one, and you can see with the jump stitches over there that I can do this. So I'm going to separate each one out, and there I did. And once I started placing these, I realized that I didn't, and some of them I'm rotating there, but they weren't filling up the whole space, because I did add a whole new unicorn in there, and it is larger than the other design was. So I'm going to be duplicating some of these stars, some of these shooting stars, and putting them around and basically filling it up to how I like it. All right, so I'm happy with that. Excuse the dog if you can hear her. She's barking in the background. But now I'm going to combine all of those into one design and save it. And there we go. So now I have this finished design here, and I can go ahead and put it on the shirt. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting in the stabilizer, and this is the stabilizer for knit fabrics. So it's for fabrics that are a little bit stretchy, like t-shirt material, those types of things. And I like to double up my stabilizer, and as you saw, I put 3 in there instead of 2, and that's just because of the size of the stabilizer I had. 1 only fills half the thing, so I did put 3 on there. So there we go. So, and then I'm going to be using that sulky on the top. So now I'm marking the exact center of the design. I stitched a square around where it's going to be, and now I'm going to mark on the shirt where the exact center is. And this is a fabric pen, so it's actually it'll wash away, and we won't see it. And I cut the sides of the shirt there, if you just saw, so that I can put the the hoop underneath. And I do have to do that with any shirt that I embroider, and now I'm using the spray adhesive to get it on there and making sure that line lines up exactly with the line that's underneath. And when you're pinning it here, you got to make sure you're not actually pinning the other side of the shirt there, and I didn't, but I want to make sure you guys don't do the same thing if you have an embroidery machine. But yeah, so now I'm just pinning it around because I am floating this instead of hooping it into the hoop itself. I prefer to hoop, even though it's better if you I prefer to float instead of hoop, because it's better to float or to hoop. I'm forgetting my terms here, but it's easier to float. All right, so we had that first one done, and now the one in the back, and this is done. So I am taking off the fix stitch, the square that's stitched all around to keep the floating flat fabric on top. And now I'm going to go through, and since this is not a tearaway stabilizer, it's specifically for knit, I do have to cut it out instead of tear it out. So there we go. So that is that one there, and here are some of the pictures. Isn't she cute? That's my little rainbow unicorn queen. And we did do another one here. This one, Rainbow picked out all the designs, and this one says, "Be you, do you, for you." Rainbow likes a lot of statement shirts. Some of them are feminist, some of them are just very empowering, and yeah, so she's a cutie. And here we are with her Fearless shirt. This was actually two designs. It was that butterfly and the Fearless. They were two separate designs that we put into one. And here's her Can't, I'm Booked shirt. She had a book shirt last year as well. So we wanted to get another book shirt for her. And there we go. And we did a little design on the back too with the falling books. And her last one here is a pug that says Bloom at the bottom. So there's her pug. Thanks for watching, guys. Later, creators. Bye!